What's up, y'all? This is Ashton. You can see Casey there.
How y'all doing again?
We are here at the HCLS Fan Fest, which is the Hancock County Library System. This is a small Comic-Con that I helped start probably 9 or 10 years ago when I worked at the library. And it's gotten a little bit bigger than those days when we used to have it in the library itself. Now it's here at this community center. So we're gonna run in and take a look and see what all they've got, see who's here, see if we can find something cool to buy or just walk around and hang out.
Yeah.
We'll see you. So I'm here now with my friend Troy, and he's got all sorts of old stuff that is really awesome, and we're gonna take a look at that and let him tell you about it. All right, so what do you have set up here? What all did you bring?
Yeah, so this is our gallery and display that we do every year for Fan Fest. We started all the way back when the library had back when you were there.
Yeah.
And we just love coming out and showing stuff from our collection, so everybody gets to see stuff that's historical and original, that helps start all of this kind of pop culture fan experience. But today we've got everything from movie posters, from the original films, to first appearances from the comic books, and some statues as well from some of the more modern era, like Lord of the Rings and things like that. But, like over here we have a 1939 Hound of the Baskervilles, which was the first movie with Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes.
Really cool.
And Nigel Bruce is Dr. Watson, one of the great movies that come out in 1939, showing Arthur Conan Doyle's character and really the way it should be shown, right?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful process called stone lithography, which how they made the posters back then, which they would put the images onto stone or a metal surface and do them in different layers for the colors. And if you get up close to it, you can see it's not like a printed dot pattern. It's actually has the nuances of the stone and the metal plates that they used to make the posters. Really beautiful process. And so they got that. We've got this 1918 poster from The She-Devil starring the original vamp, Theda Bara. And Theda Bara was a huge star in the early days of movies, and was probably the most famous for her movie that she did of Cleopatra, which is probably and also she did Solomon, which were both big films in that time period. So she was just a monstrous star. And this is called a 3-sheet size movie poster, so you can imagine these up around town or outside the theater and people seeing those walking down the street.
Very cool.
This is a 3-sheet from Son of Dracula. Lon Chaney Jr., the son of the famous Lon Chaney from the silent film era. So his dad played, Quasimodo and was a master of disguise and makeup in the silent era. And then his son ultimately became famous for the Wolfman, really.
Yeah.
But then also he did Son of Dracula and also did a stint as Frankenstein in the movies as well. And he was actually born in Oklahoma, where I'm from. I'm from Oklahoma, Kansas, but his family was on the road and he was born in Oklahoma. But that's a 3-sheet that I had. I found the bottom, then I found the top later on, had it restored, and I think it's probably the only copy, just like the Theta Barra.
But the pieces are contemporary with each other. So they match.
They're both original pieces.
Wow.
And this is a one sheet, one of the most famous images from the film noir era for this gun for hire. Of course, featuring Veronica Lake and her famous peekaboo hairdo. That during the war years, they actually came back and asked her to tie her hair back because this peekaboo hairstyle was so popular. They were worried that the women working in industry while the men were away at war, that their hair would get caught in the machinery. So the next movies that she did, they had her pull her hair back to try to convince women not to wear their hair like that.
Really cool.
And another interesting thing is Robert Preston was this male star, but Alan Ladd's character was so popular that they put him on the poster even though he got lower billing. But just a famous image. And then down here we've got got an early radio show for Witches' Tales out of KGB radio station out of San Diego. So that's very early 30s, maybe late 20s, probably early 30s. And then we got a Batman #1 that I got many years ago, and it's got the first appearance of the Joker, first appearance of Catwoman, and Jerry Robinson actually on the inside, who created the Joker and co-created Robin's character and information on Robin, signed it for me on the inside.
Really?
Yeah, I got to do an art exhibit in Atlanta once with Jerry Robinson.
Wow.
I got to hang out with him a little bit, and so that was a great honor that he signed that for me.
Very cool.
And he's coming from my friend Kevin's collection. Of course, the first issue of Mad, first 4 issues, back when it was a comic book. And Mad Magazine was a comic book up until the Senate hearings on juvenile delinquency in the 1950s, because they were worried about too much horror and too much revealing attire in the comic books, and they said it was contributing to juvenile delinquency. So the comic code was instituted by the comic companies to voluntarily censor themselves. But what Mad did, William Gaines Jr., who owned Mad Magazine and EC Comics, which also published Tales from the Crypt and the horror comics, turned Mad Comics into Mad Magazine so they wouldn't be under the comics code.
Brilliant.
And that's how Mad Magazine came into.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And then we've got an early Sheena comic book from the late 40s. Of course, Sheena's made it through time, from all the way from the 80 years ago to today. There's still all kinds of good things about Sheena out there in the comics and movies. And of course, the iconic African-American baseball player Jackie Robinson, just changed the nature and style and play of baseball and broke ground for all the players that came after him. This is the early Rocky Horror theater program out of New Orleans from the first about year or two that the play was going on. And so it's kind of fun that that's from New Orleans.
That's
from
cool.
The early days. And then let's see, we got a Bride of Frankenstein lobby card here, an original lobby card from 1935. One of my favorite films, and what a lot of people consider, the best of all the Frankenstein movies from Universal. And one other interesting fact about this card is it came out of the collection of Kirk Hammett, who's the guitarist for Metallica. And not sure why he let it go, but I'm glad he did.
His loss, your gain.
Yeah, he's got an amazing collection. And these are a bunch of statues from my friend Kevin's collection of some of the best statues from Lord of the Rings, and of course a great Tarzan statue. An interesting thing is this one actually made it through the floodwaters of Katrina.
Oh, wow.
And survived. The box was up high in the attic. The house was totally flooded 8 feet, but that didn't get floated away. So, But anyway, Ashton, thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
And it's always a pleasure to be here for Fan Fest with the Hancock County Library System.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. All right, we're here inside the HCLS Fan Fest, and we just stopped at the table where the guys behind Mississippi Macabre are set up selling some comics, and we're going to talk to them. We got some stuff from them. We'll show you that in a little while. But yeah, let's,
Really nice stuff.
yeah, let's hear from them and see what they got going on. All right, this is we're here with Blake, Rodney, and Brian from Mississippi Macabre. Y'all tell us a little bit about what y'all do here.
Yeah, so Rodney and I travel around Mississippi collecting different stories of folklore and legends around the state. And then we sort of collect them with our artist friends like Brian and Stephen Butler and a lot of other local artists. So we sort of visualize them in the comic book medium. And so in our first issue we did last year, we did Witch of Yazoo, Robert Johnson at the Crossroads, the Old Tavern on George Street in Jackson, and then the Phantom Barber of Pascagoula. And then that was a pretty popular book, so we did another one this year that just released with the Channel Swamp Monsters, Three-Legged Lady, Bigfoot, and the Mississippi Mudman. And so we're sort of on this streak now. We're collecting these different stories, and we're going to hopefully keep going.
Awesome.
Try to be a little bit like the Grimm brothers did in Germany way back in the day with fairy tales, except we think just like they had with the fairy tales, we have folklore here in Mississippi. And so far we've collected 180 stories. We preserved 8 of them in comics, so we got a long way to go.
Got a long way to go. I like that.
But they're all fantastic stories, and I think a lot of people are liking it.
I think people sleep on Mississippi, I feel like, for lots of reasons, but the history in this state is just so rich and dark in a lot of times. So I think this is really cool that y'all are doing this.
A lot of history to go through.
So, yeah, I appreciate y'all taking the time to chat. And, yeah, I'll look forward to seeing what y'all got coming up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this is my mentor, Stephen Butler, and he introduced me to wonderful fellows, and we're doing some wonderful stories about Mississippi and its macabre nature.
Yeah. So Stephen Butler got you into doing this?
Oh,
Yeah. That's cool. What's been your favorite thing to illustrate so far for this?
well, it's something that hadn't been out yet. It's the Pascagoula
The UFO abduction? Yeah.
issue 3, and the writer's right here, Tony Forkway, my number 1.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that one. That's cool. Well, I appreciate you talking to us for a minute, and we'll see you next time. All right, I am here with my good friend, the multi-talented musician, artist, mad genius,
absolutely.
Steve Harper.
Hi, everybody.
So I met him when I was teaching at Hancock High School. He was the art teacher. I was teaching history, and I guess
Classrooms next door.
across the hall from each other. I guess weird attracts weird, so we started.
And it was also like, oh wait, you like to draw? I like to draw. Hey, let's draw that.
You play guitar, I'll play guitar.
No way, this is so cool. That's exactly what happened.
So that's exactly how that happened. And I don't know how long ago that's been, 13, 14 years ago, 15 years ago.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
I didn't realize it was that many years, but yeah, it's been a while.
For some reason, Steve trusted my guitar playing enough to gig with him a few times.
Good player. He's an amazing player. Don't listen to him.
Well, that's debatable.
Listen to his guitar playing, but don't listen to what he says about his guitar playing. Very good guitar player.
But you can see back there, Tiki Fez Comics. So Steve is set up here to sell stuff. Tell us about about what you got here and how you got into it?
How I got into it was this guy right here, because one of the Hancock County Library System Fan Fest, I think it was the first one.
It was.
The first one. Is the first one he was helping organize.
Yep.
And he said, hey, would you come show some of your art stuff? And I was like, I don't do comic book stuff. I'm not a comic book guy. I don't know anything about it. And he said, I don't care. I just need you to come do it. And I said, okay. And so I came and showed some sketches. Talked to a lot of kids. A lot of kids were asking me stuff about comic books. And they said, what's the story behind all of these things? And I started saying, okay, well, maybe there's a market for this. And so I started to actually draw comic books. And now I have a whole series of stuff. I have graphic novels. I have comic books. This one's about being a teacher. Oh my gosh, the funny things that happen to teachers in classrooms. There you go, that kind of thing. So yes.
What how many of these events have you been to now? I see you set up at CoastCon in Biloxi.
I've been to CoastCon in Biloxi. I've been to I went to Comic-Con in Los Angeles a couple years back. Realized I don't need to go to Comic-Con Los Angeles because when you're talking to, like, when people are like, oh wait, there's the real R2D2. I'm gonna go stand in line and talk to the cast of Star Wars. Or like, or I can talk to this guy who I've never heard of, and he's doing stuff I've never heard of before. And so I didn't do great at Los Angeles Comic-Con. But that was a valuable lesson. It's good to know that you don't need to do that. And so since then, I've kind of concentrated on a smaller one-day library community con, that kind of thing. Because people have more time to talk and more time to listen to you and more time to try out something that they have never heard of before.
So how are you enjoying being in the comic book industry?
I'm not really sure I'm in the comic book industry. I'm sort of like in the outskirts, maybe. As a matter of fact, it was funny because I was a couple of months ago, I was at a con over in New Orleans, and I was on a panel, and the panel was what you should be reading, what comics you should be reading. And I was like, you should be reading mine.
The obvious answer.
The obvious answer was like, you should be reading Tiki Fest comics. That's what you should read. And I kind of felt like I think they were going for something a little more than that. But honestly, that was about the only real answer I had. And there were some other guys there who were very well knowledged in the whole comic book industry. They are in the comic book industry. I'm peripherally. Hi, Speedy.
I love you.
Thank you. I love you. That's my daughter. That's my daughter, Ella. She's helping me out of my booth today. And yeah. So I don't know that I'm in the industry.
Yeah, you're in it enough. Look, you're selling all of these comics, so you're in the industry.
Okay, I have them available. Let's put it that way. No, I really enjoy it, and it's been an entirely different approach because my background is really in art. I have a degree in painting, but this is an entirely different kind of approach to things, and you kind of have to think of like a story, and then you have to have artwork that supports said story. And then the worst thing about it to me is that once you tune your brain to start thinking of things in terms of comic books or comic strips, then everything starts striking you as something that can be in a comic book, and then you start laughing at really inopportune times in your life because you're like, oh, I gotta write this down.
I saw yesterday that you did a workshop at the library about creating a comic. How was that?
Yes, it was really good. It was covering some of the basic points that I just cover whenever I'm teaching a class, and obviously very condensed because it was only a couple-hour workshop. But we talked about some basic things about, like, defining where your characters are, what universe they inhabit, and some of the basic kind of conjectures of writing stuff down on paper. So like an establishing shot where you can tell you whether you're in outer space or whether you're in a desert or whether you're under the water, where this comic strip is taking place. And so, for instance, if you have, I don't know, let's just say at random, if you have like, a vampire character. Wait, do you have a vampire character? Oh, yes. Okay. So if you have a vampire character, you have to figure out, where is this vampire? Now, here's also the short version of it for you. If you don't tell people what universe they're in, they tend to assume they're in our universe on this planet. So, and if that's fine for you, like for instance, here's one monster office right here. Here's a guy. He's talking about like office stuff right there. I don't have to really set that up because we're all familiar with we've all at least seen TV shows. Maybe we've never been in an office, so I don't have to especially set that up. But then the payoff, the punchline is we got to think outside of the box. And here I have the monsters that have their boxes with them. Like, wait, what can I? So you get for being smart alecky.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Sure thing. I appreciate
And-
you pointing me down this road of life that I've. This is all his fault. It's all his fault. Without him, I'm nothing.
For better or for worse.
Without him, I'm nothing.
My name is in his first graphic novel in the thank yous.
It's it's in most of them.
Oh, is it?
I think you got to read carefully. Look, let me just check. Maybe I stopped thanking you on this one. This is the one where I finally said that's enough. I've thanked him enough. I don't know. I usually put it in there. Okay, wait, maybe it's not in this one. I don't know. I don't know.
It's quite all right.
It's just all mashing together there. Yeah.
Seeing you at all of these is thanks enough. The fact that you're still doing it.
Yeah, after these years.
The real thanks is the friends we made along the way.
That's right. It was. They were there all along.
So,
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you for talking with us. All right. So that was the Hancock County Library System Fan Fest 2026. It was really cool to go see how much it's grown since I helped start it in probably 2015, 2016. I don't even remember. Casey, what'd you think about it?
I liked it. I had a good time. But anytime we get together and go to any kind of little fest like that, it's always a good time. It was definitely, you were a hero there to the library system. It seemed like you were the best manager ever.
Well,
which is pretty cool to meet some of your old people and hear your praises.
well,
And it's
it was
also,
fun.
it was pretty neat that you helped start it too. So it was cool to come experience that with you and come across with some pretty good little finds.
Yeah. It really has grown a lot. The first 2 or 3 were in the library, and just, some of the rules about the tax status of the library. Vendors couldn't sell anything inside the library and all of that. So they finally, it's what I wanted to do from the beginning, was have it in that community center.
Yeah. It's a nice little center.
Mm-hmm. It just didn't fall into place while I was there. But I'm glad to see that it has, and vendors are there selling stuff. There's local artists, local artisans, people selling. There was woodworking stuff. There was candy. I think there was somebody selling ice cream.
Yeah.
And a couple vendors selling Pokemon cards, and one selling some vintage Star Wars figures, which you will get to see what Casey got. But I guess I'll start off. So you saw Steve Harper, you saw the interview with him. These are the books that I got from him that I did not have. These are new ones that he's put out since I saw him last. But he's got classroom cartoons, which I flipped through this a little bit, and it's really good. It's just stories from the classroom. And trust me, there are so many stories that you could write in the classroom, just from what students say, from administration to when I was teaching, just stupid stuff that I would say. I had students who kept a notebook of dumb things that I would say, and they gave it to me at the end of the year. And I was like, man, did I really say these things? I wish I could find it. I might have to do some digging because it was really funny. But anyway, this is Steve's book, Classroom Cartoons, and it's good stuff. He's a fantastic artist, and all of these comics that he does have a cartoony style that I love. And I got
to Archie and kind of that style. It seems like, yeah, it's nice.
It definitely is. And here, this is part 1. The Halloween Spectacular. I'm not good at talking sometimes. But this is volume 1, and 2. I got both of these. I haven't really had a chance to flip through these yet, but this part 1 is the introduction of his vampire character that he created called Wilbur the Vampire. And I'm really excited. He did flip through it because I told him that Lance and I just recorded the Lost Boys review. And in one of these, Wilbur is watching the Lost Boys. So that was pretty cool. But I'm very excited to get into these. Steve has a very, very good sense of humor, as you probably saw in that interview. And it's going to be good to read those. So I'm excited. And hopefully, if y'all see them and want them, comment, get with me, and I can make that happen. If anybody out there is interested, I can hook you up. So that's some of the stuff I got. Why don't you show us something, Casey?
All right. As soon as we walked in, I walked past this booth quite a few times trying to decide what I was going to get, and it was selling some vintage Star Wars toys, which I don't have a lot of, because these guys were dated to 1980, which was before I was actually born. And when I was growing up, I never really had too many Star Wars toys. I had Wicket that I remember, and a few other little minor characters, but I never got into collecting Star Wars toys. I got into Star Wars when I was a little older, but it was too late to get any of the cool vintage toys because they weren't available. But of course, I got my hero that most people are a fan of is the original Yoda. No accessories. I'm gonna have to try to round up some of those. But I'm finding that it's almost cheaper just to buy a complete Yoda with the accessories and price out the accessories separately. But
like everything.
Yeah. And also got what we were talking about, the main character and unsung hero of Star Wars, which I think is this guy.
Lando?
Here.
Oh, not
Nope.
Lando. Dang.
That would be R2.
R2 is, in fact, the main character. And even if George Lucas didn't intend for him to be, R2's got that main character energy throughout the trilogy.
I mean, think about it. And the garbage chute, it would have been over with. That was it.
All of
Yeah, he got them out of all the situations.
and he started it all with the message from Leia.
Yep.
So, yep, that's pretty awesome. And those were priced pretty good too.
Yeah, I got them for both. I think R2 might have been $10. The Yoda was like $5 or something like that. So,
yep, I really wanted that C-3PO. I think he was $12, and I'd already spent some money on some comics, which I'm about to show y'all. But yeah, I'm like you. I didn't have very many Star Wars toys back in the day. I'm pretty sure I had a Wicket, and I had a C-3PO because I remember playing with that C-3PO probably with you at some point. But and I had the Rancor. I had a Rancor.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Now that you mention it.
I wish I still had it, but that's probably something I'm going to track down is a vintage Rancor, just because I loved that thing. It was the coolest. Had the little thing on his back you'd move and you'd open his mouth. That was just so cool to me. Yeah, that's a great find. I honestly didn't go there expecting to see any vintage Star Wars toys.
Yeah, I'm glad they were there. It was nice to look at them. Come away with a couple of them. So
he had some pricey ones too.
Yeah. He had the Cantina mail-in, I guess. He was explaining to us, and they messed up with the snaggletooth, I think it is. And the one that you got was not how it looked in the movies. So that one's worth quite a bit of money. I guess because it's a mess up for a rarity. That one was there. Don't know too much about it. I'm gonna do a little research just because I like looking into old toys and storylines. And
you're gonna do that and then regret not getting it Sunday. Is what's gonna happen.
No, it was a few $100.
So just I just thought about this. Speaking of expensive things, y'all saw it in the video when I was talking to Troy, but man, to actually hold a copy of Batman #1 and the first issue of Mad was really cool. I'd never held a Batman #1 before, and it was neat. And it was signed by Jerry Robinson on the inside, which blew my mind.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
amazing.
I didn't make him open it to prove it, just because that book looked very brittle.
Yeah,
But I trust him. Troy wouldn't lie to me.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool. And man, that was expensive. And my ring light's freaking out. Oh, okay. Well,
3 hours later.
all right. So after some technical difficulties, we're back. So yeah, Steve Harper had cool comics, really cool vintage Star Wars. And then the last thing, and we both got one of these issues, was the Mississippi Macabre, which, we talked to those guys. Y'all saw that. And this is really neat. Casey, this is the same cover you got, right?
Yep. That's that one right there.
There it is. So, yeah, we both got these, and signed by Blake Barnes is the, I guess, like the owner of Jackson Comics, and he does some of the writing. And Rodney Mooney is another writer, and he does most of the research. And Brian LeBlanc did one of the variant covers for issue #1, but he also did this cover for issue 2, and that is awesome. Brian LeBlanc had some art that he was selling, and I can't believe I didn't take pictures or videos of it, because it was awesome.
He had some good stuff.
He had really good stuff.
All three of those guys were super nice, down to earth.
Yep.
Had a good time kind of talking to them and hearing how their comics came to be. So all the tons and tons of stories collected, narrowed down to just a few for these comics. So I'm actually definitely looking forward to #3. I don't know why I didn't snatch up #2 right there. I just remembered that you had it, and I picked it up and put it back down and got one, and I guess I got spoiled somehow. But #3, I think, is going to be the Pascagoula alien abduction. I don't know if you caught that on tape or not. On recording, we don't have tape anymore, but
I did. Yep. Brian LeBlanc mentioned that, because I asked him what his favorite thing was to draw, and he said that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool. That's a crazy story.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Story. But the good thing about waiting a couple days between going and filming this is that I've read this first issue, and it's really good. It's got, you see right here, that is the Yazoo witch, and she kind of is the storyteller. They were all big fans of the old EC comics, where you had Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror. So the Yazoo witch is kind of the crypt keeper, or like Abel, like Cain and Abel from House of Secrets, House of Mystery.
Yeah.
She's the host, I guess, for the book, and introduces each story, and makes corny jokes. It's really cool. There's Stephen Butler did this cover. Stephen Butler is from Mississippi, but most of y'all know him from his run on Spider-Man in the 90s, where he created Scarlet Spider. So Steve Butler's really cool. I've met him several times, and he does a lot of art in this, and his daughter Lily does some stuff, and then just other Mississippi artists. And y'all pick it up. It's really good. You can go to their website, Jackson Comics, and they sell them on there, I think. But yeah, I'm very excited to read issue 2, and I highly recommend it. So all in all, I'm pleased. It was a really, I texted Casey. I got there before him, and he asked if I was there yet, and I said, don't get your hopes up too high, because the last 2 shows that we went to were just killer, but they were way bigger. And this is just a small thing by the library, but for it to be so small, they had some really cool stuff.
Yeah. And like I say, it was definitely a good experience to come hang out and just enjoy the day right there. It's a small con. Get to meet some local artists, which is pretty cool. So it definitely had a local feel to it, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, and it's close to home.
Yeah, and it was
I mean,
free.
what? 50? Yeah, free to get in. 15-minute drive for you, huh?
15, 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, 35 for me, but that's closer than Hattiesburg and Mandeville. So
Yeah. We'll make that a little annual trip too.
oh yeah,
If it stays annual, we'll keep
I'm
going.
sure. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this YouTube channel and Spotify thing blows up, and we can have a booth there teaching people how to how to be content creators. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So that's up to y'all out there who are watching and listening. Like, share, comment, subscribe to everything. We are everywhere on all of the socials, all the good ones: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think we got the gamut covered. Instagram, yeah.
Started the podcast thing, so you can find us everywhere podcasts are: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, a bunch I've never heard of before, but I just submit them and they get posted. So somebody's listening on those.
Yeah,
on those.
Gotta get them out.
So y'all be sure to do that and follow, because Casey and I, hopefully, if not the end of this week, maybe next week, have the new episode of a retro review of Spawn coming. Right, you're gonna be able to do that soon.
Yep.
I hope I can.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've learned is that being an adult and doing something like this with a job and a family is very hard.
Yeah, it takes all the way to back seat.
Yes, but it's fun and I enjoy it. And I'm gonna keep doing it until YouTube closes down, I guess.
Yeah.
So
well, I'll be here too. So
heck yeah. So thank y'all for joining us, and it was fun.
We appreciate it.
A good time. Yep. Always a good time when Casey and I get to hang out and look at comics and stuff and just talk and hang out. So hopefully y'all enjoyed hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.
Catch you on the next one.